Hi there, Mark from Sound Masters. Hope you're all doing well. I've just finished doing a quick review of the new G3 cleaning fluid from GrooveWasher and just wanted to share with you a few of my thoughts. So if you've been following the website for some time now, you probably know that the original G2 cleaning fluid, if we just navigate over here, the original G2 cleaning fluid from GrooveWasher has been my favourite record cleaning solution for some time now. I find it to be very effective on records. I find it to be very non-abrasive and gentle in its cleaning. It doesn't contain a lot of isopropyl alcohol or anything harsh in terms of chemicals. It's a very gentle, non-abrasive way to clean your records on a either day-to-day basis or when you buy new or used records from the store. So that being said, there has been some demand from the customers of GrooveWasher to create something a little stronger, something that's a little bit more suited to heavier cleaning needs, and that has led to the process of developing the new G3 fluid, which is essentially the same idea as the G2 fluid, only it's just a little bit stronger. So has increased here, as they say, surfactants in terms of the concentration levels of that, so that increases the cleaning power. That's the stuff that gets down to the dirty work, if you like. So it's a slightly stronger formula, but the trade-off for that then is that you need to perform that second rinse step. So it's no longer a single step cleaning fluid like the original G2. It now becomes a slightly longer process with that secondary rinse stage. Now you can do that with distilled water, or you can use the GSR Super Rinse, which has, I think, some additional wetting agents in there, which, as they say, makes it sort of wetter than water. So that kind of stuff to sort of really reduces the surface tension and allows it to spread through the grooves easier than, say, just standard distilled water would. So there you go. That's basically the crux of what it is. I'll just go through, if I can bring up on the right page here, just bear with me. I'll go through the kind of ingredients that are in here, just so you understand kind of how GrooveWasher works, really. It doesn't contain a lot of isopropyl alcohol or anything like that, which is great. I'm not a big fan of record cleaning solutions that contain very high amounts of isopropyl alcohol. I know some people really swear by it, but for me it's too heavy-handed, and why use a sledgehammer to kill a fly when you could use something gentle and get the same, if not similar, results. So, I prefer to use the gentlest possible approach to get the final result. That's kind of my motto when it comes to record cleaning, really. So, if that being said, if G2 will work on a record, I'll use G2. If G3 is what's required, then I'll use G3. So you use what is required based on the circumstance and the conditions of the record. So anyway, in terms of the breakdown of what's inside the fluid, they make it fairly clear here. I mean, obviously, anyone producing record cleaning fluids is going to keep the exact levels of this kind of stuff close to their chest, but generally speaking, this is what's in there. So surfactants, which is essentially the stuff that dissolves and suspends fingerprints and oily grime. And then you've got the wetting agents. This is the stuff that reduces the fluid's surface tension and enables it to reach the bottom of the groove. Emulsifiers, they essentially hold the dirt and the mildew and all the dust particles in suspension, so that when you take your microfiber cloth, or in my case the kind of the record cleaning pad, the walnut handle stuff that GrooveWasher make, when you use that, it's then going to pull that dirty fluid off the record surface, and that's going to be taking away. It's going to be taking away all those oils and dirts and everything with it. So, and then the final thing is just laboratory grade, very good quality, double deionized, filtered, treated water, essentially. So that's the carrier for all the ingredients. That's the kind of base of it all, really. But that's sort of how it works. You've got your surfactants and your emulsifiers, and they really do the heavy lifting, and then you've got your wetting agents to reduce the surface tension. When you spray GrooveWasher on the surface of a record, you'll see it kind of spreading into the grooves. It behaves quite differently to standard, distilled water. So that's basically the crux of it. But without further ado, I'm just going to switch cameras now, and we can just talk a little bit about the cleaning process and how it works. Alright, so I picked up a few used records for the purpose of this. One of the nice things about what I do is that whenever I have to test a record cleaning solution or do something in terms of, any sort of record cleaning, I have to go out and buy a bunch of used records. Yeah, I know, poor me. But the reason I have to do that is that you never know your luck, and it's one of those weird things where you want it to be dirty but you don't want it to be in bad condition, and you don't really want it to be that dirty. You kind of want it to be cleanable because you want to grow your record collection, right? So at the same time, if I'm going to be testing something, I want to buy records that I like and that I want to keep and I want to play. That's what we love to do, and that's why I got into this. So it's one of those strange things. I tend to have to buy a few because you never know what you're going to get in terms of the condition. You can get the description from Discogs or from your record store or wherever, but you never quite know until you put it on the turntable really how it's going to pan out. So I bought 3 records. I bought Queen, Sheer Heart Attack, I bought another Queen one, A Night at the Opera, and I bought the first Santana album. All classic albums, all used, and I think all close to first pressings, if not in some cases a first pressing. So I actually did look up the Queen one in particular because this is going to be the main test subject, actually, it turns out, for this review. But this certainly is part of the first batch of pressings that were done. Maybe not the immediate first one, but maybe the second down there. Looking at the run out groove, the etchings in there, it matches out at least to the first batch of 1975 pressings anyway. So good copy of the album to have. Anyway, so the Queen album, the first Queen album, the Sheer Heart Attack one, actually turned out, I got really lucky with this one. This one actually was in really good nick. It didn't sound very noisy at all. And a quick clean up with G2 cleaning the original GrooveWasher was more than enough to get this record up to a very nice condition. So not much to be done with that. There was no point really progressing to G3 because if G2 will do the job, then, happy days. So I'll just put that to one side. Now, A Night at the Opera was a different story altogether. This was very noisy, very crackly, clearly hadn't been cleaned since the day it was first purchased. Very unlikely that it had been as well, and perhaps was left out on the turntable quite regularly because there's a lot of noise, a lot of snap, crackle and pop on that. It was clearly a well-loved record and will definitely need and benefit from the G3 cleaning fluid. So that one's getting clean with G3. And then we got the first Santana album. Now this was somewhere in the middle of the two, so it wasn't actually too noisy when I first put it on the deck. However, it did plough, the stylus was ploughing the groove and picking up quite a lot of dust along the way, so clearly there is some built up dust in there, and so we don't want it ploughing the groove and picking up dust along the way. Obviously not only degrades the audio quality as we get through the record, but also is not great for your stylus either. So this will benefit from G3 as well. But the main test subject for this review is going to be A Night at the Opera, because that clearly needs some heavy cleaning, some heavy lifting, as there's a lot of snap, crackle and pop noise on that one. So and it's also a good test subject because it has lots of dynamics. So there's quiet bits at the beginning and then there's loud bits. There's lots of up and down, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of hear the noise floor a little more obviously than, say, even the Santana one, which is has great dynamics, as a lot of records from the 60s and 70s do in comparison to modern day records. But certainly this one is a really good way of testing the results of this cleaning fluid. So without further ado, let's get into how the cleaning process actually works. Right, so here we have our test subject. This is the Night at the Opera album, which I've placed on top of GrooveWasher's landing towel, which is basically a microfiber cloth in the shape of a circle. Has this really cool splash pattern on it. So these actually come as part of the Mondo kit that you can get from GrooveWasher, which is their really handy all-in-one cleaning kit that includes, and we've done a full review of it, so basically check out the website, but also includes all the extra accessories and everything that you could want in terms of cleaning your records. So place down on this towel. If you don't have one of these towels, then obviously you can just use a very large microfiber cloth, will do the trick just as well. But anyway, we place it down on here, and the first thing we're going to want to do is apply our label protector, which again comes part of the Mondo kit if you buy one of those. But most of the record cleaning kits from GrooveWasher come with these handy label covers, because we don't want to get the label all wet whilst we're doing this. Next step obviously is then we're going to apply the G3 cleaning fluid. So because it's quite a dirty record, I'm going to apply this fairly liberally around the surface of the record, and I'm just going to allow that to sink into the groove. So we're going to give that a little bit of time, sort of up to a minute if you like, to kind of settle in. Once that's settled in, I'm now just going to take the leading edge of the pad and I'm going to let it I'm just going to spread it once around the surface of the record, and then I'm going to leave it again for just a little while longer so that that sort of soaks in further to any bits that it might not have got to so far. I'll leave that again for a little while. I like to leave it again for another 10 seconds or so, just to give it time to get into the grooves and do its thing, start to break down those oils and dirt and everything. And then once I'm happy, I'm going to again take the leading edge of this pad and I'm going to slowly make my way around the record like so. So first of all, a minimum really of 3 times round with the leading edge, and this is going to work the fluid nicely in there and start to pull off any of those dust, dirt and grime particles that might be in there. And once I'm happy with that, and we've been around a few times, you're going to start to slowly turn the pad so that we are moving to the drier parts of it, and this will start to dry off the record as you go. And by the time you've gone around a few times, you can finally move over to the very far edge where you'll really be taking off the fluid and leaving the record pretty much dry by this point. One of the great things about GrooveWasher is that it evaporates pretty quickly, so your record is ready to play very soon after you've done your clean, really. Right, so I'm happy with that. It's nice and dry. It's done its thing. I'm going to apply the rinse stage. So all we do really is we take this large bottle of GSR Super Rinse and we're going to apply it to the surface of the record like so. You can be fairly liberal with it, to be honest with you. I don't think there's any specific instructions from GrooveWasher as far as I know, but we're just looking to clean the residue of the record cleaning solution off. So for this, I find it useful to have a second microfiber towel, the one that's not been used with the cleaning solution. I think that makes sense to me because we want to be rinsing it off, taking it off, make sure this is nice and clean, and we want to be using it to take off the fluid and not spreading anything around in terms of that. So again, similarly to the other fluid, we allow that to just sort of sink into the grooves a little bit, and we can just start to apply the cloth whenever you're ready, really. But see how that fluid kind of spreads through the grooves, similarly to how our record cleaning solution did, because we have that reduced surface tension because of the way that GrooveWasher treat this particular filtered distilled kind of style water. So we're going to go around, spread it all around. As I say, it makes sense just to have that second cloth on hand, and you really, whenever you're using microfiber cloths to clean records, you need to keep them clean or replace them regularly, because you don't want to be just spreading muck around. That would be counterintuitive. So yeah, a few times with that, and then I like to have a finishing cloth, as you say there. These types of cloths are not quite as effective at drying and finishing, and if you get a very fine microfiber cloth like this, then you'll get a much nicer finish. So again, I'm just going to do the same thing just to finish it off with this as well. And once we've done this, that is your record good to go. Obviously, you just need to repeat the same process on the other side. So yeah, if you would like to hear the results of this, then I would head over to the website. It's yoursoundmatters.com, and I'll put a link in the description to the full review where you can hear before and after audio samples. So that pretty much concludes the review, really. But G3 really in conclusion does get there faster than G2. So with very dirty records, a single clean will produce fantastic results, whereas with G2 with very dirty records you may need to do a few different passes, repeat the cleaning process a few times to get the same result that I essentially got in one with G3. So if you'd like to add G3 to your record cleaning arsenal, and I recommend you do, you can start off with a discount. We've partnered up with GrooveWasher to offer our subscribers and readers a 10% discount on all purchases when buying from the GrooveWasher website directly. So if you look at the description of this video, you'll see a discount code and a link to the GrooveWasher website. So if you enter that code, you'll receive 10% off your order, and I highly recommend you give it a go, and let us know how you get on. Come back and leave a comment on this video, or go over to the website, subscribe, take part in the Soundmasters community, and let us know how you get on with GrooveWasher. So the G3 stuff I think is fantastic. I think we'll see more fluids coming from GrooveWasher in the next few years. Clearly there's no one record cleaning fluid that suits all requirements and all situations, so I'm sure we'll see more out of the GrooveWasher lab in the years to come, and I can't wait to see what they do next. So thanks guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.